One editorialist in the trade press wrote that the FCC of the New Frontier is going to be one of the toughest FCCs in the history of broadcast regulation. If he meant that we intend to enforce the law in the public interest, let me make it perfectly clear that he is right. We do. If he meant that we intend to muzzle or censor broadcasting, he is dead wrong. It wouldn't surprise me if some of you had expected me to come here today and say to you, in effect, clean up your own house or the government will do it for you. Well, in a limited sense, you would be right because I've just said it. But I want to say to you as earnestly as I can that it is not in that spirit that I come before you today, nor is it in that spirit that I intend to serve the FCC. I am in Washington to help broadcasting, not to harm it, to strengthen it, not weaken it, to reward it, not to punish it, to encourage it, not threaten it, and to stimulate it, not censor it. Above all, I am here to uphold and protect the public interest. Now, what do we mean by the public interest? Some say the public interest is merely what interests the public. I disagree, and so does your distinguished President, Governor Collins. In a recent speech, and of course as I also told you yesterday, in a recent speech he said, broadcasting to serve the public interest must have a soul and a conscience, a burning desire to excel as well as to sell, the urge to build the character, citizenship, and intellectual stature of people, as well as to expand the gross national product. By no means do I imply that broadcasters disregard the public interest, but a much better job can be done and should be done. I could not agree more with Governor Collins. And I would add that in today's world, with chaos in Laos and the Congo aflame, with communist tyranny on our Caribbean doorstep, relentless pressures on our Atlantic alliance, with social and economic problems at home of the gravest nature, yes, and with the technological knowledge that makes it possible, as our President has said, not only to destroy our world, but to destroy poverty around the world, in a time of peril and opportunity, the old, complacent, unbalanced fare of action, adventure, and situation comedies is simply not good enough. Like everybody, I wear more than one hat. I am the chairman of the FCC, but I am also a television viewer and the husband and father of other television viewers. I have seen a great many programs that seem to me eminently worthwhile, and I'm not talking about the much bemoaned good old days of Playhouse 90 and Studio One. I'm talking about this past season. Some were wonderfully entertaining, such as the Fabulous 50s, the Fred Astaire Show, and the Bing Crosby Special. Some were dramatic and moving, such as Conrad's Victory and Twilight Zone. Some were marvelously informative, such as The Nation's Future, CBS Reports, The Valiant Years. I could list many more, programs that I'm sure everyone here felt enriched his own life and that of his family. When television is good, nothing, not the theater, not the magazines or newspapers, nothing is better. But when television is bad, nothing is worse. I invite each of you to sit down in front of your own television set when your station goes on the air and stay there for a day without a book, without a magazine, without a newspaper, without a profit and loss sheet or a rating book to distract you. Keep your eyes glued to that set until the station signs off. I can assure you that what you will observe is a vast wasteland. As you may have gathered, I would like to see television improved. But how is this to be brought about? By voluntary action by the broadcasters themselves? By direct government intervention? Or how? Let me address myself now to my role not as a viewer, but as chairman of the FCC. I could not, if I would, chart for you this afternoon in detail all of the actions I contemplate. Instead, I want to make clear some of the fundamental principles which guide me. First, the people own the air, and they own it as much in prime evening time as they do at 6 o'clock Sunday morning. For every hour that the people give you, you owe them something. And I intend to see that your debt is paid with service. Second, I think it would be foolish and wasteful for us to continue any worn-out wrangle over the problems of payola, rigged quiz shows, and other mistakes of the past. There are laws on the books which we will enforce, but there is no chip on my shoulder. We live together in perilous, uncertain times. We face together staggering problems, and we must not waste much time now by rehashing the cliches of past controversy. To quarrel over the past is to lose the future. Third, I believe in the free enterprise system. I want to see broadcasting improved, and I want you to do the job. I am proud to champion your cause. It is not rare for American businessmen to serve a public trust. Yours is a special trust because it is imposed by law. Fourth, I will do all I can to help educational television. There are still not enough educational stations, and major centers of the country still lack usable educational channels. If there were a limited number of printing presses in this country, you may be sure that a fair proportion of them would be put to educational use. Educational television has an enormous contribution to make to the future, and I intend to give it a hand along the way. If there is not a nationwide educational television system in this country, it will not be the fault of the FCC. Fifth, I'm unalterably opposed to governmental censorship. There will be no suppression of programming which does not meet with bureaucratic tastes. Censorship strikes at the very taproot of our free society. I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, I remind you what the President said in his stirring inaugural. He said, ask not what America can do for you. Ask what you can do for America. I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, ask not what broadcasting can do for you. Ask what you can do for broadcasting. And ask what broadcasting can do for America. I urge you to put the people's airwaves to the service of the people and the cause of freedom. You must help prepare a generation for great decisions. You must help a great nation fulfill its future. Do this. I pledge you our help. Thank you.